After weeks of warnings, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has begun. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has cast aside international condemnation to launch the attack in eastern Ukraine. Explosions rang out before dawn in the cities of Kyiv, Kharkiv and Odessa, followed by air sirens. In Ukraine, the president has ordered martial law across the country. Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia has targeted Ukraine's military infrastructure, and he's spoken to the US president, rallying international support for Ukraine's response. But the Russian president is defiant. In a televised address, Vladimir Putin defended the actions, asserting that the attack was needed to protect civilians in eastern Ukraine. That's a claim the United States earlier rejected as a false flag operation intended to create the pretext for an invasion. In a statement addressing his nation, Vladimir Putin accused the Ukrainian government of committing genocide against Russian citizens.
The People's Republic of Donbass asked Russia for help. In this regard, under Article 51, Part 7 of the Charter of the United Nations, with the approval of the Russian State Federal Council and in accordance with the Friendship and Mutual Assistance Treaties with the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic, ratified by the Russian Parliament on February 22, I decided to conduct a special military operation. It aims to protect people who've been bullied and subjected to genocide by the Kiev regime for 8 years. For that, we will strive for demilitarisation and denazification of Ukraine, and will bring to justice those who committed multiple bloody crimes against civilians, including Russian citizens.
US President Joe Biden has spoken on the phone to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. In a statement, Mr Biden said he'll meet G7 counterparts in the morning to discuss what further action to take. Mr Biden also said he'll announce further measures that the US and its allies will take against Russia. We're taking you live now to our Europe correspondent Isabella Higgins in Lviv. Isabella, events are extremely fluid. What can you tell us at this hour?
Well, Kirsten, things are becoming more and more serious as the hours go on. Here in Lviv, we just heard warning sirens going across the entire city. We're hearing reports that have been going off in Kiev for some time now. Ukraine's military says they are fighting off an air invasion. They say that their air defence has been brought down by a Russian plane. There are also reports of ground troops moving in from Crimea and Belarus. They are just reports at the moment. We are also hearing people have heard gunfire at Kiev's airport. We've heard that an ammunition base in Kiev has been set on fire, and we know that people here are responding to this new threat. Roads on the way out of the capital, Kiev, are becoming very busy and clogged up. We have heard that there are people already at the Polish border, people who have decided to leave as soon as they heard this news. Just down below me, I'm seeing people congregate. I've seen a lot of people walking with large suitcases. So we don't know where they're going, but it looks like people are really responding. The mood has changed here very quickly and things are looking very, very serious.
OK, so you just mentioned that you've seen people with suitcases. Earlier you talked to us about the location of the city that you're currently in and its proximity to Poland. Do you think that people are beginning to consider leaving Ukraine?
From what we're hearing, Kirsten, people have already decided to leave. People are already at that border. They have made that decision. There were certainly people in this city who were prepared to make that move to the Polish border, to leave this country if they could. A lot of the people we spoke to who were planning to do that were foreign nationals, diplomats, representatives of overseas businesses. People we've spoken to on the ground here, Ukrainians many said that they are willing to stay, that they will be willing to defend and to fight for their country. Yesterday, I met several people who were signing up for the country's territorial defence forces, who were ready to do whatever it took to defend their country. Ukrainians are a very tough bunch. They've been through a lot. And as we've heard from Ukraine's president, this country is willing to give it its all to defend itself.
And Isabella, take us through how else Ukrainians have been preparing for this eventuality. I understand that some civilians have been allowed to take up arms for the first time.
That's right, Kirsten. This country is now in a state of emergency, and as part of those rules, it allowed all civilians to carry a firearm to protect themselves. Yesterday, I was in a school basement that had been turned into a shooting range. I was speaking to mothers who were learning how to shoot for the first time. They said it made them feel better to know that they would be able to protect themselves and their children. So people are going to extraordinary lengths to protect themselves from invasion, but also people were doing a lot of administrative things like trying to prepare passports for their young children in case they needed to make a dash for the border, and just also other simple things you might expect, like getting stockpiles of cash or food. So people here have been hoping for the best but preparing for the worst, and now it looks like the worst may be the reality that they are facing. This is the situation that Ukrainians are waking up to today.
Isabella, have locals been talking to you about their expectations of the international community right now?
Already, from what I've heard from Ukrainians, they have been pleased with the West's response. They are certainly feeling the support of Western leaders and Western countries. We have heard in recent weeks that from leaders here that they would like to see tougher sanctions imposed, especially from places like the UK. We can probably expect that that is going to happen, and they will be announced in the coming hours. Western leaders, places like the US and the UK, have said that they won't be sending troops here, that they were really trying to use sanctions to stop Russia from making a move like this. We can probably expect that they're going to ramp them up even further, and they are probably announcements that we will hear in the coming days or hours. So certainly this country has appreciated the support of the West, but it's not a member of NATO. There will not be NATO forces or troops here fighting this war. This will be Ukraine's battle.
Okay, that is our Europe correspondent Isabella Higgins joining us from Lviv.